catch 'em all.
Hey guys, PokeDan here. As we all know, the world of Pokemon is gigantic. Currently, we have over 800 Pokemon, 30 plus core Pokemon games, as well as countless side games and spin-offs, over 1,000 episodes of the anime, and 21 animated movies. So, with all of this, fair to say Pokemon's pretty big, and the franchise also has a massive fan base. Now and again, we, the fans, are treated to sneak peeks of what's to come later on in the series, and sometimes this comes in the form of a Pokemon being revealed before the generation it's meant to debut in. Researching this topic was really interesting for me, and I thought that it would be fun to make a video on the subject, and pass the knowledge on to you guys. By the way, for this video, I'm limiting the early Pokemon debuts to just the anime and movies, because otherwise, I'd be here all day. All the information in this video is from Bulbapedia, and just in case you guys think I missed a Pokemon out, I'll leave it linked in the description if you want to check. Also, feel free to comment what Pokemon you remember seeing before it debuted in the games, but with all that being said, let's get started. So, let's start off with Generation 2 because, well, Generation 1 Pokemon couldn't have exactly debuted early, considering they were the first Pokemon. So yeah, let's get right into it. First off, we have Ho-Oh, which debuted in the first ever episode of the anime titled Pokemon I Choose You. And this Pokemon was seen by Ash Ketchum flying away towards the end of the episode. After Ho-Oh, we have Togepi, and it debuted in Who Gets to Keep Togepi. And spoiler alert, well, not much of a spoiler, but Misty kept Togepi, and it travelled on her team for the majority of the Kanto anime. Another two Pokemon that appeared before their official debuts are Marill and Snubbull, and both of these Pokemon appeared in the short Pikachu's Vacation, which aired alongside the first Pokemon movie. Speaking of the first Pokemon movie, in Mewtwo Strikes Back, we have another debut, and the Pokemon this time is Donphan. Donphan appeared at the beginning of the movie under the ownership of a trainer named Raymond, and at the time of its debut, no one actually knew what this Pokemon was. But of course, in Gen 2, this Pokemon was officially released. Four more Pokemon that appeared early are Ledybur, Elekid, Bellossom, and Hoothoot. And all of these Pokemon appeared in the Pokemon short Pikachu's Rescue Adventure, which aired alongside the movie The Power of One. Again, speaking of The Power of One, this movie also gave us two new Pokemon debuts, and these Pokemon are Lugia and Slowking. Of course, Lugia played a huge role in this movie, and as for Slowking, it appeared in the film and was able to talk. And there's not a lot of Pokemon that can speak in the anime, so this Slowking is pretty unique. But yeah, that's it for Generation 2 Pokemon that showed up early. Moving on. So of course, up next we have Generation 3 to talk about. And as you might have guessed, these Pokemon appeared during Generation 2, and they teased what was to come. The first of these Pokemon that I'm going to talk about is Kecleon. And Kecleon debuted in the Johto episode titled The Kecleon Caper, where it had the entire episode focused on this Pokemon. And here's an extra bit of trivia for you guys. One of the Kecleon in this episode is discolored, and for the longest time, I actually just thought that this was Kecleon's shiny coloring. I was wrong, but it's still cool to look back on now. Next up, we have two Pokemon that debuted in the short Pikachu's Peekaboo, and these Pokemon are Azurill and Wailmer. This short played alongside Pokemon Forever, and I remember watching this short when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. Another Pokemon that showed up early in the Johto anime is Wynaut. In the Johto episode Thanks for Nothing, a Wynaut appeared and stole food from Team Rocket. It then became a recurring character for a little bit, and went on to steal more food from Team Rocket and Ash, as well as Ash's Johto badges, which of course he did get back. Two more Pokemon that debuted early were Duskull and Volbeat. Both of these Pokemon appeared in the short Camp Pikachu, the short that appeared alongside the movie Pokemon Heroes. In Pokemon Heroes, we also had 2 more Pokemon that showed up early, and these Pokemon were of course Latias and Latios, and they were 2 of the main Pokemon to appear in this film. Another Pokemon that debuted in the Johto anime, rather than in the Hoenn anime, is the starter Pokemon Blaziken. This Pokemon was owned by a trainer called Harrison, and it was used during the Johto League. It first appeared in the episode Pop Goes the Sneasel, and later in the competition, it defeated Ash's Charizard, knocking Ash out of the Johto League. Okay, so next up we have a bunch of Pokemon, and they debuted in the episode titled Johto Photo Finish. And these Pokemon are Sharpedo, Seedot, Shroomish, Lotad, and Zigzagoon. In this episode, Ash is defeated by Harrison and his Blaziken in the Johto League, and later on, Harrison tells Ash all about the Hoenn region, and all of these Pokemon made a brief cameo along with Professor Birch. The last 2 Pokemon to make an early debut in the Johto anime are Wingull and Pelipper, and they appeared in the final episode of Johto titled Hoenn Alone. It was only a brief appearance, but nevertheless, that was these Pokemon's anime debuts. However, with all that being said, that's it for all the Pokemon that showed up early in Johto, so let's move on. After Generation 3, of course, we have Generation 4. And I gotta say, quite a lot of Sinnoh Pokemon showed up early in the Pokemon franchise. So, let's get right into it. The first Gen 4 Pokemon to show up in the Hoenn era was Munchlax. And this Pokemon debuted in the movie Destiny Deoxys, where it was later shown to evolve into Snorlax. Of course, as nearly everyone knows, Mei also owned a Munchlax in the Hoenn anime. And this Pokemon had bucket loads of personality, and it was a really likeable character. 4 more Pokemon also debuted in Hoenn, and this was in the movie Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. Of course, one of these Pokemon was Lucario. After all, it is one of the title characters in the movie, and it was a friend of Sir Aaron, an Aura Guardian. Another Pokemon that debuted in this movie was Weavile, and a character called Kid Summers owned 2 of them. The final 2 Pokemon who made their first appearances in this movie were Mime Jr. and Bonsly. And if you guys didn't know already, in the Hoenn anime, Brock also caught a Bonsly, with Team Rocket's James owning a Mime Jr. Okay, so that's it for the Pokemon who debuted in that movie. But there's also another Pokemon movie from Hoenn, where 4 more Sinnoh Pokemon made their first appearances. And that is the film Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea. The Pokemon who first appeared in this movie were Manaphy, Weasel, Chatot, and Mantike. Manaphy was of course the main character in this movie, and it really bonded with Mei. As for Weasel and Chatot, they were both Pokemon owned by characters in the movie and weren't all that important. But it was still cool to see them debut in this film. The final Pokemon, Mantike, was just a field Pokemon used by a Pokemon Ranger, but nevertheless, it appeared early in the franchise. Alright, so the final Sinnoh Pokemon that appeared in the Hoenn anime was Electivire, and it was owned by Gary Oak. After Ash found Gary with this Pokemon, they had a catch-up and even battled, and all of this led to Ash deciding to visit the Sinnoh region. Gary's Electivire was a really strong Pokemon, and it was awesome seeing this Generation 4 Pokemon appear earlier on in the anime. So, that's it for all of the Sinnoh Pokemon that appeared during Generation 3. Yes, most of them appeared in one of these movies, but nevertheless, they still had an early debut. So with that being said, let's move on with the video. The next gen to talk about is Generation 5, and I gotta be honest, not a lot of Gen 5 Pokemon made early appearances in the anime or movies, but there were a couple, so let's talk about them. Firstly, we have both Zorua and its evolution Zoroark, and these Pokemon made their debuts in the movie Zoroark Master of Illusions, where, as the title of the movie suggests, they were the main Pokemon of the film. Another Pokemon that sort of made an early appearance in the anime is Woobat, and it also appeared in this movie. Well, kind of. There was a character called Carl in this film, and he wore a baseball hat. On this hat is very clearly a Woobat. So even though this Pokemon didn't physically appear in the movie, it was still technically shown. Kind of like how Mana was referenced in Gen 1. But that doesn't really count for this video because, like I said, I've limited it to just anime and movies. Not a lot of Generation 5 Pokemon appeared early in the franchise. And that's actually it. Just 3 Pokemon. So let's continue. For the final part of this video, I've decided to group Kalos and Lola together, since both of these movies barely showed off Pokemon early. In fact, Alola only did this with 1 Pokemon, which you'll find out about in a little bit. But for now, let's start off with Kalos. In Generation 5, there were 4 Pokemon who had early debuts. First, let's talk about Sylveon. This Pokemon was first shown in the short Eevee and Friends, which ran alongside the movie Genesect and the Legend Awakened. By this point, Sylveon was already a fan favourite Pokemon, so of course, everyone loved to see it debut before the Kalos anime even aired. There were 3 other Pokemon who, like Sylveon, appeared before the Kalos anime even came on TV, and they were Helioptile, Gogoat and Noivern, who all got early appearances thanks to Alexa, who showed up in the Univers anime. Okay, so next, let's talk about the only Alola Pokemon to appear before the Alola anime aired, and that Pokemon is Magearna. It wasn't that long ago, so I'm sure a lot of you guys will remember, but Magearna actually appeared in the movie Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel, where it played one of the main roles. It hasn't since shown up in the Alola anime, but it was still awesome to see this Pokemon debut early. But yeah guys, that's it for Kalos and Lola, and with that being said, that's actually it for this video too. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Like I said, I'll link my source in the description, but if you think I missed anything, feel free to drop a comment down below. But with that being said, for now, I've been PokeDan, you've been amazing, and I'll see you guys next time.